So the curse of the Vasconcelos is lifted?
Oh no, the Countess was thrilled to find the lost chalice, but there's still the riddle of the missing knight.
Well, you can forget about that now and get back to finding the Templar's secret.
Actually, I promised the Countess I'd find Don Carlos.
You what?
I can explain everything.
You have got the odds for a withered old Spanish aristocrat?
The Countess entrusted me with the chalice and the quest for her ancestor's tomb.
You're as crazy as she is. Haven't you got enough problems? Khan and the Templars?
It's all part of the same thing. The chalice is important, I'm sure. The manuscript pointed us to the knight, and I have to find him.
What then?
I don't know. But when the knight and the chalice are reunited, maybe I will. This is the chalice I discovered in Spain.
I still can't figure out why the Countess gave it to you. After losing it for all those years, she simply gave it away to a total stranger? She's one prawn short of a paella.
The Countess is a fine lady. You shouldn't compare her with seafood.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's something going on between you and that Countess.
Are you serious? She's old enough to be my grandmother. Let's take another look at the manuscript. That's the lens I found on Klausner's body in the bull's head. That's the gem that Pegram found in Lochmarn. That's the clue that led me to Spain. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Okay.
Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie.
What do you make of this cup, Andre?
It's a 14th century communion vessel. Spanish, probably.
You sure know your onions. Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie.
What do you make of this cup, Andre?
It's a 14th century communion vessel. Spanish, probably.
You sure know your onions. Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
There was no water to frolic about in, and the leaf mold that was collecting there just wasn't the same somehow. An ornate fountain stood in one corner of the square. I'd have to come by here in the summer to see it working. Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur. How pleasant to speak to you again.
What do you make of this chalice?
It certainly looks very old.
About as old as this church, I think.
There seems to be an engraving on it.
Yeah? What does it say?
I do not know, it is very tarnished. With your permission, I could try polishing it. I promise I will be very careful.
That'd be very good of you.
This shouldn't take very long. Feel free to look around.
Okay, thanks. I didn't have time to sit around. On the end of the staff was some kind of disc with a cross on it. Around the base of the disc was a hairline crack. A scroll was a symbol of scholarship. I knew that much. A scholarly knight. That rang a bell. A very Spanish bell. A statue of a knight holding a staff and a scroll. A Knight Templar burning at the stake, and a date. Hello again, Father. Hey, thanks.
It is my pleasure, monsieur.
What was the writing on the chalice?
It was not writing, my mistake. It was a coat of arms. The remarkable thing is that it seems very familiar.
Yeah?
Oui, I think I have seen it on that wall tomb in the far corner. That winged horse is quite distinctive.
Boy, what a shine you got on this!
Merci. It is all in the wrist action.
Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
It was hard to believe it was the same chalice. Now the light gleamed off its perfect surface. I wondered if this guy had died in combat. Carrying all that armor around must have been hard work. To think of the long centuries that it kept its secret. All the thousands of people who must have been through here and seen it without once suspecting. Now that my attention had been drawn to it, there was no mistake. There was no name on it, but the coat of arms was undeniably the Pegasus of the de Vasconcelos family. I'd found the last resting place of Don Carlos. My eye was drawn to the biblical references carved into the edge of the tomb. Hey, maybe these biblical references mean something. Psalms 32:7, John 4:11, Corinthians 1:4-5, and just one more, Psalms 22:21. I may not be perfect, but I've got a memory like a steel trap. The chalice had led me to these inscriptions, but it looked like a happy coincidence to me. After all, The de Vasconcelos arms were already on the manuscript. Note, I was still convinced that the chalice had some significance all of its own. Hello again, Father.
Bonjour, monsieur. How pleasant to speak to you again.
You must be proud to have such an incredible collection of stained glass.
Pride is a sin, monsieur, but it is hard not to marvel when the light shines through them. It is a fine example of the artisan's genius.
Boy, what a shine you got on this!
Merci. It is all in the wrist action.
Catch you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
I didn't have time to sit around. I think he suspected me of being the mysterious Sieur Jacques, and the last thing I needed at the moment was to be arrested for crimes against public sanitation. Oh, hi!
Hello, my handsome friend.
Maybe not. Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, dear.
Does this powder mean anything to you?
No, it doesn't.
Would you like to shake my hand?
No, I wouldn't. I can see the future, remember?
See you later.
That's right, monsieur. You will.
Hi, how you doing?
Fine, George. I sold this story this morning. It won't make me Journalist of the Year, but I can't afford to pay the electric bill. What have you been up to?
Listen, remember the missing Spanish Templar? I found his tomb in the church at Montfaucon.
So he's dead, then?
I wish you wouldn't be so sarcastic.
I was only joking, Georges. The Countess will be delighted.
Yeah, maybe this'll help lift the curse.
What now? Are you going to dig up his bones?
There's no need for that. Well, not yet. What I still don't understand is the significance of the chalice.
Yes, there must be something we're missing.
Look at the chalice now, Nico.
What happened? It's shiny.
The priest at Montfaucon buffed it up for me.
That's incredible.
Yeah, looks as good as new.
No. You found a use for a priest. That's incredible.
Let's take another look at the manuscript. That's the face of the statue I saw at the bull's head. There's a woman looking at her reflection in a mirror, but the reflection has 3 hideous faces.
That's the gem that Pegram found in Lochmarn. That's the lens I found on Klausner's body in the bull's head. That's the tripod we borrowed from the museum. That's the clue that led me to Spain. That's the clue that led me to the bull's head in Syria. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Okay.
There was no obvious way into the building. A real macho guy would have plunged straight into the spiky, scratchy bushes. Not me. Hi, Andre.
Hello, Georgie.
What do you make of this cup, Andre?
It's a 14th century communion vessel. Spanish, probably.
You sure know your onions. While I was in Syria, I discovered a strange pagan statue. It was like a head with 3 bearded faces. Horrible.
That sounds as if it could be Baphomet, the idol described by the Templars.
The poor Knights of Christ had an idol that looked like that?
Allegedly. The description of the idol came from the evidence extracted by the Inquisition. Mind you, not one statue or idol was ever found on Templar property. Until now, that is. Just last month, a statue of Baphomet was unearthed right here in Paris.
Where?
At the Institut Hermétique de Naval. The statue is beneath the foundations. It was discovered by some workmen while renovating the building.
Can you tell me any more about the statue of Baphomet?
It's a fearful image even now, a bearded head. The base of the statue is carved with Templar symbols. One of the workmen noticed a curious stain at the base. He claimed it looked like blood.
Blood?
That's right.
Thanks for your help, Andre.
You're welcome.
Excuse me, could you help me?
What is it?
I've got a few questions. What does the word Templar suggest to you?
Templar?
Nothing.
Nothing.
You're doing a fine job.
Merci. I have my professional pride.
I don't think I've ever seen a Gauloise smoked so stylishly.
It's a natural talent.
I'm being sarcastic.
I'm being indifferent.
You're very good at that as well.
Merci. Vive l'indifférence.
So, what are you doing here?
I am having my break.
Yeah, I mean when you finish your break.
When I finish my break, an interesting concept, monsieur.
You'll probably need to think about it.
I could have another cigarette while I consider. Perhaps tomorrow too?
Okay, let me put things differently. What were you hired to do here?
I was hired to keep the archaeological dig in the basement of this building clear of debris, and to touch up damage to the door frames with my little pot of paint. It's a very responsible job. Unfortunately, I'm not a very responsible person.
So what do you know about the excavation?
I know they won't let me in to do my job. I would complain to my union, but
You couldn't be bothered to join.
right. Tell you what, though. I'm surprised at the sort of people interested in this excavation.
What's unusual about the visitors to the excavation?
None of them look like archaeologists to me.
Do you know what an archaeologist looks like?
Three-piece suits, crocodile-eyed attaché cases, Rolex oyster.
But no archaeologist dresses like that.
Quite right, monsieur, quite right.
So, who are they?
Who cares as long as they pay me?
I've got a sewer key.
I used to work in the sewer.
Oh? What happened?
I had a cigarette break in a pocket of methane. A manhole cover landed on the other side of the Seine and I was sacked.
I have a red nose.
Imagine. A greasy tissue. Don't get it too close to my cigarette, monsieur, or there'll be a conflagration.
Have you seen this man before?
Yes, he asked me a lot of questions, just like you.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
Yes, it's a communion chalice. I know, you know, I used to be an altar boy.
You?
Yes, me. What's so funny about that?
Nothing. I have some plaster of Paris.
Amazing.
Has a guy calling himself Merlin been nosing around?
Was he wearing a t-shirt with "My name is Merlin" on it?
I doubt it.
Then how the hell am I supposed to know his name just by looking at him? Huh?
I was pretty sure the shaken shock had shot its bolt in Syria.
Be seeing you.
Au revoir, monsieur. Hey, you! Get away from my dumpster.
There was a dumpster full of debris. From the excavation, I guessed.
Hey, you! Get away from my dumpster. Hey, monsieur! Get away from my paint pot!
Okay.
I should think so. Meddling with a man's paint pot. What?
I couldn't climb over. The gate was surrounded by some pretty fancy ironwork.
Hi? Excuse me?
Oui?
What do you know about the Knights Templar?
There was a long pause during which the guard said nothing. Then he said,
Nothing.
Nothing at all?
Is this a test?
What, like a history pop test?
No, like a test.
Okay, yes, it's a test.
Then I know absolutely nothing about the Templars.
The guard was being amazingly evasive. It was going to take more than goodwill to get past him.
So, what exactly are you doing here?
I'm guarding. You expect to find me shearing sheep?
Take it easy, I just didn't realize you were a guard. I'd like to know what you're guarding, please.
That's a secret.
It wouldn't happen to be an archaeological site, would it?
Are you asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
Then why ask?
I had a feeling this was no normal hole in the ground. This gadget is a sewer key.
So it is.
Have you seen this man before?
Oh,
You have.
no.
Have you seen this man before?
Oh,
You have.
no.
Do you recognize this name?
Merlin. No.
I thought better of showing him the chalice. He might be on the conspiracy's payroll, and I didn't want to risk it.
Oui? You have...
A sudden urge to sing. Care to join me?
No, no singing in here.
I got this plaster from Ireland.
Not an exciting souvenir.
Look, a tissue stained with grease paint.
Ah, just what I've always wanted. If you give me that, you can enter through the door.
Really?
Of course not. What would I want with an old tissue?
I've got a red nose.
Oh,
I was gonna have to get rid of this thing. It was dead. Talk to you later.
au revoir, monsieur.
There was a closed door with toilet scratched into the cheap veneer.
That door's locked, monsieur.
Do you mind if I use the phone?
Be my guest. I'm paid to guard this door. The phone can look after itself.
Hi, Nico?
George, what have you discovered?
Nothing yet.
Nothing. Is something wrong?
No.
George, why are you calling me?
Oh, no reason. I just wanted to hear your voice.
You did. Well, this is my voice saying, don't bother me, I'm busy.
Oh. A guard stood by a door I guessed led to the excavation. He looked pretty pompous. Well, not so much pretty, just pompous. I didn't think that the guard would just let me waltz past. Besides, I had a hunch that door was locked. The doorway led to an old utility closet that had lost its door. There was nothing interesting in there. I couldn't imagine what I'd achieved by turning the dial. I couldn't imagine what I'd achieved by... A thermostat was mounted over a radiator. The radiator was pumping out heat as the thermostat was cranked right over to full. No wonder it was warm in here, even with the door open to the chill of fall. The doorway was full of assorted old tea chests, cardboard boxes, and so on, all empty and all uninteresting. Hi again.
What is it?
It sure is hot in here.
I have to have the door open to allow the workmen access, so why not? I turn the heat up.
You could wrap up warm.
I have my gloves if it gets cold, but why bother when it's warm anyway?
Trying to get into a locked washroom. I had the strongest feeling of déjà vu. I'd like to use the washroom, but the door's locked.
Oh, that's no problem. You can have the key.
Thanks. Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Yep, that was definitely debris. I couldn't see any use for a collection of dirt and half bricks. Yep, that was definitely debris. I couldn't see any use for a collection of dirt and half bricks. Being in a charming comfort station like this, made me think fondly of the toilet in Syria. That place was kept in pretty good order. At least, it had been until I vandalized it. Still, it was all for a good cause. I wasn't that interested in what might go into a restroom's garbage to investigate. The thing felt really hot. Big demands seemed to be being made on it. Capacious as my pockets were, I didn't figure I could cram a shovel in them. I didn't want any coal. I didn't want to use that unless I really had to. The cold tap's washer looked to have failed. It was just dribbling down the sink. On the keyring was a big old key that looked like it might fit the excavation door. It was the bar of soap I'd stolen from the washroom of the excavation site. I didn't need to get near to tell the toilet needed cleaning. There was a big old boiler used for heating the building. The shovel used to feed the furnace was stuck into the pile of coal. A huge pile of coal lay in the corner to fuel the boiler. Real high-tech stuff. A filthy wash basin hung on the wall. I turned the heating off.
Hi again.
What is it?
What was I supposed to say? Hey, look what I stole. Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur. Hey, monsieur, don't go with my keys.
I figured this was better done out of the guard's sight. I made an impression of the big key in the cake of soap. The bar of soap had the imprint of a key in it. I carefully sprinkled the plaster into the soap mold I'd made of the key. I had filled the key's imprint in the soap with dry plaster. Well, it had taken a while, but I had made myself a completely unconvincing plaster key, way too fragile to use in a lock. I'd have to substitute it for the real one. Trouble was, it looked like plaster and not metal. Then again, that plaster statue in Syria hadn't looked like stone until I'd been a bit artful with it. Maybe I could improve the key as well.
Hi again.
What is it?
Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Hi, it's me again.
What now?
I made this key out of plaster.
How thrilling! How clever! How pointless.
Be seeing you.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Gunmetal paint. Interesting.
Hey, monsieur! Get away from my paint pot!
Okay.
I should think so. Meddling with a man's paint pot. What?
Hi, it's me again.
What now?
Be seeing you.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Collard.
Hi, Nico. It's me. I'm at the excavation site.
Goodbye, George.
No, wait a minute. I need your help.
What kind of help? I told you I'm busy.
This will only take a few minutes, I promise.
Okay, what do you want me to do?
I want you to keep somebody on the phone for a while.
Who?
A painter. I need to get at his pot.
Oh, okay.
Stay on the line. I'll go and get him. Hi, it's me again.
What now?
You've got a phone call.
For me? Are you certain?
It's a woman. She sounded hot.
What woman? She must be mistaken, monsieur.
Well, she asked for that hunk of a man with the nicotine fingers and his ass hanging out of his pants.
Certainly sounds like me. Stand back. It wouldn't do to keep the lady from her hunk.
A well-used wheelbarrow was sitting by the rubble-filled dumpster. There was a dumpster full of debris, from the excavation, I guessed. The plaster key had soaked up the paint nicely, and now looked pretty convincing. Still felt like plaster, though.
Well, monsieur, what a strange woman. She was all over me, and then suddenly, nothing but abuse.
Really?
What? Abuse? Ah well, I had a cigarette to finish. And monsieur, if she calls again, I am not available.
Hi again.
What is it?
I need to use the toilet again.
Again? Already?
I have this problem. How technical do you want me to get?
Never mind. Here's the key.
Talk to you later.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Quickly and without fuss, I swapped the fake key for the real thing.
What is it?
I held my breath and hoped that he wouldn't notice the substitution. Here's the keys. Thanks.
Merci, monsieur.
I didn't think that the guard would just let me waltz past. Besides, I had a hunch that door was locked.
Hi, Nico. It's me again.
I'd guessed. What do you want this time?
What did you say to the painter?
I shan't repeat it, George.
Look, I need to get the guard out of the way. Could you call back and ask him to get the painter again?
Okay, I'll call back soon.
This looked like a good place to watch things develop.
Hey, you! It's the phone.
Yeah? Who is it?
How should I know? What am I, your social secretary?
It's not a chick, is it?
Yes, it's a woman. Are you going to answer it?
Does she have a warm, sensual voice like molten chocolate?
Yes, she has a really sexy voice. Now get a move on.
I'm not talking to her.
I can see that. You're wasting time talking to me.
No, you don't understand. I refuse to talk to her.
You refuse. You refuse. I'm wasting valuable time.
Don't make me laugh. Your time valuable? You just stand around all day.
I have a highly responsible job. Ha, don't. Me, you elephantine oaf. My job is important.
Impossible. They would have hired somebody competent in that case.
Meaning what?
Instead of which they hired a dismal rent-a-cop like you. All epaulettes and no brains.
Why, you...
This looked set to carry on for some time. It was too good an opportunity to miss. I couldn't see anything useful to do with the planks. No, thanks. I think I'm carrying enough junk. There was no doubt about it. It was the same sort of idol I'd seen in Syria, Baphomet. The Templars had certainly been through here. Close up, the pattern didn't make any sort of sense. It fanned out around an axis point, a kind of focus to one side. In the middle of the floor was a weird mosaic, all swirling and distorted. Now there's a familiar face. And there it was, decoded by the curves of the chalice, the image of a church.